Yeah, okay, we have on Shakura the first game from XTC versus aoRFanatic versus Slick. Slick being the Zerg, Fanatic being the Terran. We have Slick spawning bottom left, Fanatic spawning bottom right is blue, Slick is the purple. I'm not sure what league or what level Fanatic is, but Slick is a very good diamond player. So we'll have to see what he has to show us in this map. Hopefully Fanatic can play to his level and walk on and show us something good as well.
Well, we did see Fanatic a few games ago, and his mechanics were a little bit lacking. I must say maybe he was just thrown off. He tried to do a kind of, I think he was the proxy barracks guy, also decided to include a proxy supply depot. So it was a little bit shaky, but hopefully he can show us a better game this time around. XTC is, of course, your team, so I'll be rooting heavily for the Terran.
I'm, of course, a Terran player, though, so, I'm quite torn here. I want to see my teammate win, but those Marines, they can't die. They must stay alive and just gun down everything they possibly can. That's just how things go. Okay, the Zerg is scouting, for some reason scouting the crosspoint first. Sorry, what is that?
Perhaps it can be a base trade and Zerg wins it.
That sounds about good, yeah. Okay. For some reason Zerg is scouting the crosspoint first, and now moving back to the bottom. Normally you'd want to scout the closer location first, but I suppose with the rocks now...
Okay, Fanatic telling some fibs here, saying his APM's over 100. He's actually averaging 14 at this point. The Fanatic is many things, but not honest. The Zerg has not expanded. He's opting to go for a kind of speedling expand build. A little bit slow on the gas there, actually. Only getting his gas and extract has been up for a little while, but he will get the speed for his links and then try expand off of that. A pretty safe opening, especially since they're in close positions. You'll be a lot safer against any kind of two-rack shenanigans, although we see Fanatic is going quite standard. Just got a couple of Marines queued up. The drone will make it out safely, and he's going to finish his wall.
Yeah. I was thinking the gas might have been delayed with Slick being slightly distracted by the chat and whatnot. It's often a tactic used when trying to cheese, but didn't do too much. The living first, this build that Slick's doing is a bit slow on the expo, but also I find it to be a lot safer. It's a lot harder to get bunker rush when you've got those links coming up already. You've got gas, so you can get speedlings out a lot quicker. You're a lot less vulnerable to like 2-racks aggression, other builds like that.
Yeah, you aren't sacrificing a huge amount of economy, and you are a lot safer. It is a build I use quite often as well. It's just nice to know that you're not going to get bunker rushed and cannon rushed and all the kind of...
all the various ways Zerg can get nailed.
Yeah, exactly. Zerg is probably most vulnerable within the first 10 minutes of the game, so it is always good to have a safe kind of defensive build that works for everything.
Yeah. We see the Terran is taking his second gas, going 2-racks factory at the moment. The wall-off not the strongest, but I don't think we're going to see any sort of banging burst as of yet, so it shouldn't make too much difference now. They are close enough, though, I believe, that the Zerg can see the barracks when he runs up the ramp with the Zerglings, but not the factory yet. So he's got a bit of information, but nothing too serious.
No, just seeing a barracks doesn't really tell him very much at all. But what isn't great, but we had Zerg has actually stopped mining gas. Oh, no wait, he's just started again to make me look bad, but he did pull his drones off of gas, which is very common after you get the speed, 100 gas for the speed, then pull them off gas so you can get more minerals with drones and kind of power drones for a little while. So, very, very standard so far, nothing fishy at the moment. We will see Terran set the tempo for this game though, so let's see what they're going for. We see a tech lab on the building.
Yeah. With the double starport, so it looks like he's going to be following up with the double Banshee build that he did do in a previous game already. Quite strong if you catch the person off guard, but it's also sort of all-in-ish. I mean, you take such gas and you have to cut production from some other things. It is kind of... I'm not sure. I've done this myself in previous times. And in general, you don't get that second racks because you tend to get gas a bit earlier, so you don't have the minerals for it. But it depends. This is still going to be quite annoying. And in general, you tend to swap the factory out for the starport to give you those quicker Banshees. Although I see he's just building it himself, so he's not going for the fastest possible Banshees he could. He could speed this up quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a choice or kind of just a poor build, but the Overlord did scout that double Banshee, which is terrible for him. Not very well played, considering that is exactly where the Overlord would come in. Obviously didn't factor that in, but that's terrible. Once this is scouted, it loses efficiency by quite a lot. He's got plenty of time to prepare, build extra creams. He's got an Evo chamber out. He can easily throw down a couple of spores. So he's going to be well prepared for this.
Yeah, he is running while his Banshees may have been stopped, the useful thing about them is you can't just sort of put them into your own army, and the DPS is pretty good. But he does have now a third racks, 2 starport and a factory, which you really can't run this early off one base. So he's either going to have to cut production from certain things or try and expo, but it doesn't look like he'll be doing either of that. I think he's just going to try and pull up what army he has and probably go for some sort of one base, put maybe expo behind it.
Interesting to see him actually get that tech lab on the factory, considering he actually hasn't done anything with it yet at all. Seems kind of a waste of time and resources on that.
Yeah. I know in a previous game, if I remember right, he did throw in a tank or two to sort of prevent the Baneling bust while he did Banshee harass. But as you say, I mean, there's no tanks being produced so far. There's no need to get that tech lab so early on the factory or on the barracks, as he hasn't got any of the upgrades off that tech lab either. So cutting those, or at least swapping for the starports, would improve his Banshee timing a lot. That and positioning the starports in different places could make a big difference in a build like this, where you basically depending on speed, striking quickly, and the element of surprise.
I like what he's doing here, though. It looks like he's going to use the Banshees actually just as part of his army, which I think is a much better decision here. His surprise has kind of been wasted. He's not going to bother with Cloak, with another good decision. And if he just goes in the front with the Banshees supporting, it's actually very strong, and the spore corridors are essentially wasted minerals for the Zerg. You see, he put up 4, which is possibly a little bit of a...
The thing is, Slick at the moment does only have, as far as I can see, the 4 Banelings. So, unless he's sort of... Okay, well, luckily the turn is moving up to the wrong bases. He hadn't actually scouted yet as to which place the Zerg was, which is quite lucky. Yeah, that is a typical Terran scout. Why scout when you can just aim near the base? But I mean, if he had gone to the right base, those 4 Banelings would not have been enough to stop that. He would have been forced to desperately throw out quite a few units to try and defend it.
Yeah, and I'm sure we can see in the production tab he's responding with 18 Zerglings, 6 but he is going for quite a heavy tech path, upgrading both melee and armor and baning speed all at the same time. So
he obviously feels like he can stop this just yet.
In trouble yet. This could actually be a good timing to catch him off guard.
Some Muta flying in there, some links, but they're all running in one at a time.
Then it's not finished, and those banelings are going to take out the Marines. He's going to let these Mutas run raw wild here.
He is going to be able to hold this quite easily, I think, with as soon as those Banelings hit with the Muta there. Especially as he has no anti-air besides being on the Marine.
Yeah, no marker on the Marines, so unfortunately all his anti-air is taken out, so he's just going to die to these Mutas.
He has thrown up his Expo. Yeah. However, I mean, the Zerg is still 10 drones ahead, so he should be pretty fine. Muta now moving out to harass. I feel if the Zerg had put out some more army a bit earlier when he first saw that, he could have probably maybe managed to defend without having to sacrifice some of his drones. But he is, of course, now replacing some of those drones, getting back to his previous pop. Now sitting about 20 drones ahead, so he's still well ahead in the eco.
His Mutas are doing way more damage than they should be with the pathetic 5 Mutas. He's completely unprepared for this. He has 2 Vikings. I think he should bring in those couple of Marines he has as well.
Yeah. Wow. And his Expo is yet to do anything. It's no orbital, no planetary yet, no sign of doing it anytime soon. The orbital would really have helped to get those extra mules to call down after losing so many SCVs. And at a time like this, you really need to pull down some SCVs from gas just to replace the minerals to just rebuild your SCVs and get some sort of defense up. This gas isn't going to be very useful when you've got no mineral.
Absolutely, he does not need 6 SCVs on gas right now.
Yeah. He does have the 4 keys out to chase away the muta, but with that much economic damage done, I mean, it's not 50 drones to 11 SCVs and 1 mule. So, the Zerg is quickly taking a huge advantage in economic here.
And we do see, he's dropping creep on that potential expansion. Quite proactive, although that's really not on the Terran's mind. Right now he's just only getting his natural going up. Does have a turret up there, and he's trying to slowly get some SCVs going there. He is extremely far behind at this point. The Zerg taking the opportunity to secure that 3rd this time. And yeah, it's looking a little bit bleak for the Terran. He is 50 supply behind. He's well behind in economy. He's well behind in workers. 48 drones right now to 17 SCVs.
Yeah, I think at the moment he's just going to sort of hang on for some sort of experience or like a desperate attempt to try and do something. I mean, he may of course not realize how far he is behind, but I'm sure he knows that after taking that big a loss and losing his arm like that he must be in a very bad position. He is moving on with his Marines, leaving just the Marauders in the base. Although, see, he's actually just leaving the Marines at the entrance, which is kind of pointless because, I mean, from there he can't really do much. Okay, he's
here come the
down now.
Here come the link. A lot of Marauders, not very good against.
Muta.
I'll send them back.
Yeah.
Actually, he's got a ton of Marauders right now. Kind of an interesting choice since he hasn't shown Roaches. I suppose he wants to get them for Banelings, but I think not very effective against Lings. I think he'd be better off with the Marine tank kind of play here.
Yeah, I was going to say at least the Marauders would be useful down there to sort of tank Banelings to an extent, to keep his Marines alive. Because the Marines are going to be the damage and the anti-air, but it's really not going to make that any difference now. I mean, with that many Lings and Banelings, this is just, it's over. I mean, all that needs to happen now is Zerg just has to attack, and that's going to be it.
Yeah, we do see Zerg extending the supply lead from 50 now to 70, and the Banelings are rolling their way across the map, so he's leaving a lot of Lings behind. I'm not really sure why. I don't think he needs to be doing that right now, especially considering it's a very Marauder-heavy army. Here they come, finally deciding to catch up, and I think he is going to attack here. It's not a planetary fortress. Interestingly, he hasn't morphed that into an orbital command either, which is quite a difference on his part. Banelings! Oh,
Tank sieging up, but it's going to be way too late. Still no stim. Just stim about to finish now.
And that should be game right there.
Yeah, I expect GG any minute now.
And he doesn't lift up the supply depot, lets the Lings run into his base for free.
Yeah, and look, he's producing another 42 Lings. So he's definitely just on the stream, and there's the GG.
Yeah. So unfortunately, kind of the wrong unit choice there with all those Marauders, and some poor micro from the Marines against those speed veins, and kind of just set him back. Couldn't really do anything from there.
Yeah, I must say, I felt the pain to a large extent seeing the Muta kill all those SCVs. I've had the misfortune to suffer that many a time when you get caught off guard, no turrets up, no Marines in place, and suddenly you've just lost all your eco. But I must say, I'm glad my teammate did manage to take the win there in the end.
Yeah, he did commit his whole army to those, to that attack. So unfortunately, he had nothing back in the base, and it's quite unusual to see 5 little mutas take out that many SCVs.
Yeah, he could have at least pulled the SCVs away, just sort of bought them more time rather than just sit there mining there, so dispatch just like literally tears them apart. At least pull them away to the Marines, or just sort of spread them out, or something like that. Anything to keep them alive, really. Because although you lose mining time, it's a much bigger loss to lose like 5 or 6 SCVs than it is to just sort of pull them around for a couple of seconds.
It is kind of the problem on one base like that. They've got nowhere to run.
Yeah.
That's even more.
Yeah, that is the huge downside of one-base attacks.
Base and you've got no air defense.
Yeah. That really does come with a lot more practice. I mean, there comes a time when you learn to realize this Terran, to sort of keep a general watch of the Zerg base for a timing of the Muta, a scan now and then to see when he goes for lair, for spire, and after that you've just really got to put up like a turret or two there, even just one, just to sort of deter like the early Muta harass. Because if you get caught off guard, you can take a huge loss like that so easily.
Yeah, turrets in StarCraft 2 very decent, especially with that Ringer Rosie SCV repair. They really can survive quite a lot of muta harass. You do need that critical mass of mutas to actually start taking on turrets. So
Yeah.
we did see the mutas in the battle, so you needed a little bit more multitasking, a little bit more foresight, throwing down a turret in the middle line when you saw those mutas at that attack. But unfortunately, just got outplayed there.
Yeah. I mean, he is relatively new to the game. If I remember correctly, he is a silver player. So Slick does have a lot more experience. So not a bad showing by the Terran F.
No, not at all. It's just some mistakes that you see in some newer players. Not a problem.
Okay.